two-seater Roadster really is a dying species, so it's really good to see manufacturers like BMW still holding on. An example of that is this year, the G29 BMW Z4 M40i, which is based on BMW's CLAR platform, which is going to be the same platform that the new Toyota Supra is going to be based off as well. So under the bonnet we have BMW's very popular B58 3-litre straight 6 with a twin-scroll turbocharged engine. Much like the M240i, it's pushing 250 kilowatts and 500 Newton meters. This car weighs 1,580 kgs on our scales, and as a weight distribution it's very close to 50-50. So I'm very keen to see what this is like to drive dynamically. But before we do that, let's go and take a look at what the interior is like. The Z4 has a very straightforward Roadster layout. Everything is within reach. The packaging is alright for a Roadster. It's not the most roomiest obviously, but there is enough headroom for someone who's a bit taller than me. What I do like the most about this interior is the massive sound system that's right behind the driver. Also, in traditional BMW layout, the buttons are all tactile. There's no focus on touchscreen, and with design in general, it's in line with what the company is doing with interior at the moment, with bulgy gear selector and plain black plastic buttons. The Z4 has a folding canvas roof which takes 15 seconds to close and again 15 seconds to open, and you do that at the push of a button. The interior is quite minimalist compared to what BMW is doing with their bigger cars like the 8 Series and the X7. But the most important thing about the Z4 is obviously the way it drives, so let's just take it for a spin. The Z4 has never been the sharp corner tackling roadster like something like an MX-5 would be. It's always been more of a, I like to think, luxury cruiser kind of roadster. And with this car, it's no different to that. The engine is great, as we all know. That B58 is just a cracker. The noise it makes, not 100% real, but it sounds amazing. 250 kilowatts, it's enough power. The problem is the chassis doesn't really manage it well, especially with it only being rear-wheel drive, and there's not really that much weight on the rear. The car is by a couple of kilograms front biased, so losing traction on the rear is very easy, which means trying to tackle corners when you're gunning forward is a challenge. The car will get sideways, the car will be slippery. But as a Roadster and as a Z4, I think it is probably the best iteration they've come up with so far. As far as styling is concerned, it's definitely the most aggressive. It looks out there, it looks like it's trying to eat the car in front of it. There's also a question of whether it feels like a £1 million car to drive, and while it looks very stylish and while it's really striking, there's a couple of things here and there that I don't really like about it. For example, the panels on the bonnet and the doors, they don't really line up as they should. This windbreaker at the back is very flimsy, you can just take it off easily, so you need to remember to pack that away if you're going to park your car with the roof down. The big question with the Roadster is, what about comfort? Because that's always a struggle with a car like this. Everything is small, the parts are very close to one another, the packaging is very tight, but still it's a very sharp suspension, it's very dynamic. A lot of you are going to want me to talk about what I think the next Supra will be like. I'm not going to do that because the Supra does have a hardtop, and I just think it's not fair to base what the Supra is going to be off from what I'm experiencing here. BMW Z4 is a very entertaining experience. It's got a great engine and transmission combination. The ride is pretty stellar, and through the corners it's very entertaining, but it is a bit of a challenge to drive. Another issue with it is that there are a lot of alternatives. You could either get the 240i, which gives you an open top experience and save close to 200,000 Rand. But all of that aside, I think BMW has done something kind of special with the Z4. It's got a certain character to it that you don't really find in other cars today. I just really hope that the two-seater Roadster doesn't end here.